So welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're in for what's going to be an exciting pull session. As you can see, we've got conventional deadlift on the agenda. I am joined with Henry somewhere, but unfortunately he pussied out on the deadlift, so he will be featuring in a little bit later in the workout. But yeah, we're just going to crack on, do all that YouTube stuff, like, share, comment, and I hope you enjoy the video. Right, so moving into the working set now, done warm-up set. The only issue that I have is last week when I done this, the plate fell off on the right-hand side. So the objective from today is to not let the plate fucking fall off. So we've got 245 on the bar, going for 5 repetitions. So wish me luck. Done it again. Right guys, so we're done on the deadlift. We're now moving on to exercise 2, which is the chest supported T-bar row. So we're just going to do a couple warm-up sets on here. Obviously, Henry's only jumped in, so we need to make sure that he's warmed up efficiently before we go into the actual working sets. So he'll probably do a couple more warm-up sets as opposed to myself. But we've got 2 sets on here, 1 working set, 1 back load set, and then we'll move on to the next movement. Right, so with this variation, when it comes to the setup in terms of alignment and making sure that we have good stability, if we use Henry as an example here, the main focus point is we want to create stability around the pelvis. So we want to make sure that we have ribcage alignment with the pelvis, and then think about just bracing everything there. And then when we move up to his chest, the sternum, we just want the lower portion of the sternum resting on the pad. Because if we allow the upper back to roll round, we're going to get a lot of sternum pressure, and then it's going to feel like we're suffocating as we're doing the movement, and that's going to be the limiting factor as opposed to actually reaching a proximity to true failure. So you can see here, he's not allowing the scapula to retract and bring his upper back round. Oh, drive. Yes, drive. Alright, so with this lat pull down variation, we want to set ourselves up off center. So from an alignment perspective, we're lining up our arm path of motion with the cable's path of motion. And then what we want to do is with our other hand, we want to hold on to this bit of metal here to act as like a counter force from the perspective of the resistance of the cable is trying to pull us upwards. So holding on here, that counter force is going to keep us braced and anchored into the seat. Still you. Still you. Just finishing off the session with 2 sets on the adductors. Henry's done, he's left us. But yeah, just one thing in terms of setting up on this variation, a common misconception I see is with the setup, we have this ability to move these pads all the way back here. And then often I see a lot of people, they bring it all the way back there and then they get themselves into what's known as a passive range of motion. So from a joint perspective, just because we might have the ability to go all the way back there, what you have to appreciate is from a muscular perspective, is it your actual musculature that's taking you into that range, or is it because of the load it's pulling you into that range? If the load or the resistance is pulling you into that range, then it's more likely going to be a passive range. And that's where potentially you can run the risk of like a niggle or an injury. So for me, you'll see this is my active range. Now I could technically bring it back more, but then that's me going into that passive range of motion. So I'm keeping it here, I'm just driving in, and then keeping it within that active range of motion. Alright guys, so that's a wrap for today's session. If you did enjoy it, don't forget, drop a comment, like, subscribe, press that notification bell, all that jazz, and I'll see you on the next one.